When a famous artist passes away, millions of fans around the world are left devastated. Things only get worse when a celebrity passes away suddenly and surrounded in mystery. More often than not, we see massive celebrities passing away in the most mysterious circumstances. While many of these passings are usually labeled accidental, the fans are often left questioning the cause told to the world. Have you ever wondered why so many mainstream artists seem to go out the same way? Then we see the record label eager to milk their death by dropping several projects that are full of half-finished throwaway songs the artists would have never released if they were alive. While the celebrity is no longer here, the labels cash in and make millions. This is why many fans are left wondering if the labels are the ones taking these artists out. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos every other day exposing the truth. In today's episode, we will be talking about some artists that were victims of their record labels. Let's get right into it. I have always wondered why so many celebrities seem to pass away unexpectedly. So many of them seem to go out the same way. It's either accidental, caused by substances, or they take themselves out in a much more disturbing way. For whatever reason, these stars seem to end up in similar life-ending situations. Some may say it's because they lived similar lifestyles in the industry. But is this really the case? What most people don't know is that an industry death is a very profitable situation, especially when artists start to outgrow their labels or are trying to leave it. Sometimes, for the label, it makes more sense to get rid of an artist than to keep them around. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is what's happening to most of these artists that pass away so mysteriously. Considering the rise in streams and deals they sign with the family that's left over, you see how it benefits the label when an artist passes away. Add this with the fact that every artist signed to a major record label agrees to allow the label to open a life insurance policy under the artist. So not only do they get money off their music, but they also make money from the insurance policy when they pass away. It's clear that no one benefits more than the label when a celebrity passes away. Cat Williams said it best during an old interview, stating that these labels cash out when these artists pass away.
Rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year. And it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reaped $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
What Kat stated is fact. These labels are profiting when artists pass away. In today's episode, we will be taking a look at a few artists who seem to be victims of greedy record labels. The first artist we're going to be talking about is Juice WRLD. In the 2010s, Juice WRLD was one of the fastest rising rappers. With his massive hit songs like Lucid Dreams and All Girls Are the Same, it surely seemed that he would be the next Drake or Future. But it all came to a sudden end on December 8, 2019, when the world was given the tragic news that the 21-year-old rapper Juice WRLD has suddenly passed away. It was being reported by the authorities that his passing was accidental, claiming that the 21-year-old had accidentally taken too many substances. The story that was being told was that Juice WRLD, alongside his girlfriend Ali Lottie and 7 other friends, were on board the private plane traveling from LA to Chicago. The report stated that his flights had no issues during the airtime, and it seemed like a normal flight. His friends claimed that Juice was actually asleep the majority of the time. The plane would eventually land at the Atlantic Aviation Terminal around 2 a.m., where the authorities were waiting for the plane. The authorities will begin to search through the luggage on board when Juice suddenly collapsed and started having a seizure. Juice would be rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately wouldn't make it to the hospital, and he passed away. When the world received the news about the sudden death, people were shocked and confused. After some time, more information about the passing was released. It was reported that Juice's private jet was raided when he landed after federal agents were tipped off that on his private jet there was possibly illegal substances. When the agents boarded the plane, Juice was apparently caught off guard. In shock and in fear, he decided to take a bunch of substances that he was illegally carrying on his person. After taking all these substances, he shortly had a seizure and passed away before making it to the hospital. While this was already disturbing and rather strange, things got even weirder when the authorities revealed just what Juice was carrying on that private plane. Authorities ended up confiscating over 70 pounds of pot and other illegal substances from storage compartments of the plane. Now, rappers are known to have substances, but 70 pounds isn't for personal use. This was definitely interstate trafficking going on, and Juice WRLD was being used to do it. A lot of this story made zero sense to me, like the fact that they're trying to say that Juice took all these pills because he was afraid of the police. Why did Juice worry about a few pills if he had over 70 pounds on the bottom of the plane? Getting rid of those few pills wasn't going to change the fact that the private plane was loaded with other substances. On top of that, celebrities are known to have designated fall guys whose only job is to take the fall when the celebrity is in a sticky situation just like this one. You telling me Juice was with several of his friends and not one of them was willing to take the fall for him? None of this is making sense, and honestly, I believe there's way more to the story when it comes to what happened that night. Everyone around Juice is suspicious to me. I don't trust his girlfriend, who has a large Freemason squaring compasses tattoo on her stomach. Honestly, she might even have something to do with it. I also don't trust his so-called friends who were on the plane with Juice when he took those substances, but who really sticks out to me the most when it comes to the passing of Juice WRLD is his label owner Lil Bibby. One thing is for sure, no one benefited more than Lil Bibby when Juice WRLD passed away. Juice was Bibby's main breadwinner, and luckily for him, he signed him early and had the rights to all of his biggest songs. On top of this, he had the rights of all the unreleased songs Juice had recorded. Songs that he has been milking since Juice has passed away, releasing 9 singles and 2 albums with more music rumored to be on the way. Bibby also likely had a life insurance policy on Juice WRLD, as this is very common in record contracts. Every standard record contract has a clause that allows the label to open insurance policies under the artist's name, just in case they pass away. It's a form of insurance for the label that gives them some security on their investment, which is the artist. Now, considering how shady these labels are, I wouldn't be surprised if these labels were hoping or even making sure some of these artists they signed pass away. Looking at Juice WRLD's strange and unexplainable passing makes me feel like he was set up. Knowing how much his record label profited and is still profiting from his passing, I wouldn't be surprised if they set him up. This wouldn't be as far-fetched as it sounds, as clearly someone on his team was using Juice WRLD to smuggle substances on a private plane. They were using Juice as a mule. That lets you know what they thought about him. What I believe happened was that Juice was most likely going to leave his label when his contract ran out. Bibby signed Juice early on before he was a star, which means Juice was most definitely signed to a terrible deal. Now, by the time Juice passed away, he was a massive star and he was most likely getting offers from many other labels. Labels he was most likely considering. Then, Juice just so happens to pass away and is unable to sign to anyone else, allowing Grade A to re-sign a deal with his parents and make millions off his catalog. What's interesting is that Lil Bibby and Interscope sold 90% of Juice WRLD's masters to Opus Records for a 9-figure deal, allowing Bibby and the label to cash out for millions after he passed away. It's obvious to me that we're not being told the full story about what happened to Juice WRLD. In my eyes, his passing seems like a clear setup, with the label appearing to be the ones to gain the most from it all. It seems like Juice WRLD might have just been a victim of the greedy labels he was signed to, just like the next artist we're going to be talking about, Biggie Smalls. In the 90s, Biggie was the hottest rapper on the East Coast, dropping several massive hits that made him a rap superstar. Right at the height of his career, the unexpected would happen as tragedy struck the rapper. On March 9th, 1997, Biggie Smalls left a Los Angeles club with his entourage. They got into 2 vehicles, with Biggie's vehicle leading the way. The vehicle that Biggie was in was stopped at a red light when suddenly things went completely left. There are 2 reports of what happened next. One report, which is the most popular, and the one that is primarily reported, which was that an Impala pulled up beside Biggie and pulled out his weapon and unloaded into Big's car. The other report was by an eyewitness who was Biggie Smalls' security guard Gene Deal, claiming that the vehicle didn't drive up on them, but instead was waiting for them parked on the corner. According to Gene, when Biggie's vehicle pulled up, the assailant pulled out his weapon and unloaded at Biggie. Biggie's entourage got out of the vehicle, checked on Biggie, and realized he had been hit 4 times. His entourage then rushed him to the hospital where unfortunately he wasn't able to be saved. This was a massive tragedy that shocked the hip-hop community forever. After Biggie's passing, his family and fans were left waiting to find out who was responsible, something they would never get to find out. To this day, no official report has been released on who took out Biggie, although there has been plenty of stories. One person who claims to know what happened to Biggie was his bodyguard Gene Deal, who implies Diddy might have set up Biggie because he was trying to leave the label. According to Gene Deal, Diddy found out Biggie was planning on leaving Bad Boy when his record contract ended. Biggie was offered a massive deal directly from a major label, cutting out Diddy from the picture. So Gene claims that Diddy convinced Biggie to go to LA after the passing of Tupac. Allegedly, his plans was to take Biggie to LA so that he can be taken out, as there was a price for Biggie's head for what happened to Tupac. After Biggie passed away, his wife signed off Biggie's music to Bad Boys. Considering the fact that Diddy is accused of hiring people to get rid of Tupac, it makes sense to me, as why else would Diddy feed Biggie to the wolves? Now with the world seeing the real Diddy, it's 100% possible that Diddy set up Biggie, and he's another victim of a shady music executive just like Whitney Houston. In the 90s, Whitney Houston was one of the biggest stars in the world, considered to be one of the greatest singers of her time. Whitney had some of the biggest hits in music that are still relevant to this day. Her songs like I Wanna Dance With Somebody and I Will Always Love You were massive hits that her fans couldn't get enough of. Sadly, it all came to a sudden end on February 11, 2012, when the singer was found unresponsive in her hotel room's bathtub. She had sadly drowned, passing away at the age of 48, leaving her family and fans devastated. At first, the cause of her passing wasn't revealed, but eventually it was confirmed to be accidental, caused by her substance use. Fans were left with so many questions regarding this mysterious passing. Even more questions rose when the whole story of the incident was reported. According to many reports, days before the incident, Whitney was acting unlike herself and seemed rather off. On February 9th, she crashed an interview E! News was conducting on Brandy and Clive Davis, who were at the Hilton at Beverly Hills in preparation for Clive's pre-Grammy party he was known for hosting. Whitney just so happened to be staying at the same hotel, and it's where she was found just 2 days later. Many people were left with so many questions when it came to her passing, with some feeling that there was more to the story. Ever since she passed away, rumors have been circulating online, claiming that Whitney was set up by her own label, with allegedly Clive Davis being behind it all. It was reported that Clive Davis and Whitney weren't on great terms before she passed. Whitney was allegedly dealing with a serious substance problem, which led her to slowly decay in front of the world. She was slowly destroying her legacy, which honestly belonged to Clive Davis, as he owned her music rights. People believe Clive had Whitney removed from the picture as she was destroying everything she had built. He realized she could be more profitable gone. This is something that Jaguar Wright believes as well, as she claims that Ray J and Brandy were both accomplices of Clive Davis and helped get rid of her.
She's dead. Ray J, last person to see her alive. He let the drug dealer in, but he's sober, right? But he let the drug dealer in, gave her the shot. Leola has said, Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, said on several occasions that she was beaten. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up. I feel like anything with her name on it is strictly for the purposes of financial gain for those who have access to her estate, including Clive Davis.
Including Clive
Davis. This ain't a film to celebrate Whitney Houston. It's a film to pay the piper.
Oh.
That's how Clive did it. And then the next thing you know, Ray J. And then it's Grammy time.
That happened.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobby Christina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead. Ray J was the last person to see her alive. And Brandy was the one that found her. But you know, they pledge allegiance to Clive too.
As you heard for yourself, Jaguar claims that Ray J was who opened the door for the men who took out Whitney Houston. What's rather interesting is that if we look at what this private investigator discovered about Whitney's passing, what Jaguar claims starts seeming more possible. This private investigator that was hired to investigate her passing claimed that the evidence he found suggested that Whitney's passing wasn't accidental, claiming that he found evidence suggesting Whitney was a victim. What made all of this rather disturbing was on February 11th, the same day Whitney passed away, Clive Davis' pre-Grammy party was set to take place at the very hotel Whitney passed away in. And when Clive Davis was notified that Whitney had passed away, he chose to still go on with the party in the same hotel where Whitney's body was still laying. It's even reported that he allegedly told security to keep the body in the room until after the party was done. It's almost like he was celebrating her passing with the rest of the industry. Something else that was rather suspicious of her passing was when on February 9th, when she crashed that pre-Grammy interview, she was caught on camera in the middle of the interview giving Brandy a note and then hugging Clive Davis.
I'm just angry because I can't pay it.
They pay tribute. They pay a tribute.
It's my dad. It's my dad. I'll see you later. I'll see you later. Mom, come see.
Many people point at this interaction as a strange one, and I've always questioned what was written in that note. People also claim that Whitney sort of looked distressed in that video, almost as she knew something was soon to happen to her. I find this all too weird, especially after Whitney just so happened to pass away on Brandy's birthday. All of this has left fans wondering what really took place with Whitney Houston. Did she really go out the way they claim, or is there more to the story? In my opinion, it appears that Whitney was a victim of her greedy record label. It was long rumored that they gave her the substances she ended up addicted to. They used those substances to control her and to overwork her. When these substances started destroying what she built for the labels, they got rid of her and took over, making hundreds of millions off her name and image. So many artists work hard their entire lives to end up becoming a victim of their labels. This was only some of the artists that were victims of their labels, but there's still many more. If you guys want to see a part 2 where I cover more artists who were obviously victims of their labels, comment part 2 below. And if 1,000 of you comment part 2, I'll make sure it's the next video that drops. Well, that's it for this one. But before you guys go, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on so you don't miss any new content. Also, make sure to like, comment, and share this video so that you can help spread the truth. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.